Hi everyone, I'm here with Jesse, and he won a tournament in Germany. What was the name of the tournament again?
Ascanrask.
Ask. I can't. It doesn't work with my English.
No,
But
I also don't know who invented the name, but
gotcha. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Let's just jump over to the deck list here. So we have this was a sealed deck tournament, and how many rounds were there?
We had six rounds of Swiss, and then the
Nice,
top eight cut, and the top eight cut was also played with the same sealed deck as you used in the Swiss.
gotcha. So the sideboard for the people that are looking on the screen right now is very long because those are the cards that you just didn't put in the deck, and then the maybe board was things that you potentially thought maybe would go into the list but did not make the cut. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, that is correct.
Awesome. And I know some drafts or sealeds let you or don't let you have the beta avatars. Were the beta avatars available for you, or was it just whatever you pulled? So sorcerer was your main, and then if you pulled another avatar, you could play it.
Yeah, it was the second option, so Sorcerer was the main,
Gotcha.
and you can play the ones that you pulled. The other four betas were not available.
Gotcha. Okay. So obviously, then you uh, pulled. You didn't. It doesn't look like you pulled any, right?
No, did not
Okay.
pull any avatars, no.
Gotcha. So it was just the sorcerer for you, which hey, sorcerer's not a bad avatar by any means. So let's just jump into the deck. You have for artifacts, you have a Torchmer trinket.
Yep.
Uh, for all the people that are just listening to this, Torchmer trinket is a one-cost artifact that says bearer has +1 power, and at the end of the turn, it returns to its owner's hand. So it's kind of nice because your opponent can't steal it away from you, but you do have to pay the cost every single time you want to play it. But how well did this work out for you during the tournament?
Well, it's a card that gives constant awareness to the opponent. Like every body of your minion that is like 3 power, he has to keep in mind that it can be a 4 power,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes the opponent play a bit more defensively if they know you have it in deck or hand. And um, the card did really good things for me during most of the games that I was able to draw it, because I played enough minions to really use the artifact. Because the only downside of it is if you have it in hand and you don't have minions on the battlefield, then it's a dead card. You cannot use it. So
Mm, okay. Yeah, I've personally been in positions where I'm like I have trinket, but I don't have any minions, and it's kind of rough. But going into the minions, you boarded 16 minions. You have a Land Surveyor, Secret Scarabs, Scorpions, Apprentice Wizard, Autumn Unicorn, Belmont Longbowman, Cave Trolls, Midnight Rogue, Pudge Butcher, Sandworm, Withering Hero, Amazon Warriors, two Azridge Caravan, and one Roaming Monster. The kind of going through this, the Autumn Unicorn was definitely a good pull, doing a 3 for 4. Was that double threshold a problem at any point, or was it pretty simple to get?
um, I think there might have been like one game that I had problems with the double threshold, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it was on Earth. It was on the air for the Witherwing Hero. So
Gotcha.
the unicorn was a lot of times the MVP of the game, just because the early game for a body that's pretty strong early gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've played it and I've had it played against me, and it's kind of one of those, oh no, what do I do now to get rid of this thing before it does, 4, 8, 16 damage on me. So it's it's one of those cards. Once you see it hit the field and you're not the one playing it, you get a little scared.
Yeah.
The Apprentice Wizard, I'm assuming, was for more card draw or and potentially a defensive piece.
Yes, it was. The card draw is almost his only purpose in this deck, just to get faster to the bigger minions that you want to pull with this list. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then the Scorpions in a limited format, I feel like shine a lot because of that lethal keyword, being able to take out one of their bigger monsters, especially if you have like a grapple shot or something else to grapple into it and take it out, like an Amazon Warriors or a roaming monster or something like that.
Hmm. Yep. That's what he also did in
Yeah.
few of the games. I just keep him defensively until I get like the grapple shot or blink or anything to surprise people with. Because if you cast him too much in the front line, yeah, he's pretty vulnerable to like the Vile Imp, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just fireballs, heat rays, and stuff like that. So I try to keep him behind others too, so other minions can eat the projectile and just send them to the front line when it's really needed, or I can do some strange shenanigans with him
Nice.
just to surprise the opponent. Yeah.
Right. The Yeah, what I've seen is some plays that I've seen people like do that were a benefit to me when they played Scorpions was they would play Scorpions forward, and then because I was playing with deserts because it's a sealed environment, being able to play that and then move my foot soldier to attack the Scorpions,
Yeah.
and that always feels bad for my opponent who's oh okay, I can use this lethal thing to destroy something big, and they just take out a token.
Yeah, you need to with this card understand about it that it indeed is more of a threat into the late game because he
Mm-hmm.
kills the big bodies, and if you trade him in the early game, like you say now for a desert and a token, it's actually just killing a card without using a card because you just use sights. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's sad to give away a scorpion like that.
Yeah, it's similar in the vein of I'm assuming Secret Scarabs are kind of you keep them in the back just for the worry of the deserts, and then you move them forward once kind of the presence of the sites isn't going to change a lot.
Yeah, mostly if you know you play against the desert, or even if they didn't show it yet, I try not to cast them in the front line because it's just a waste of a card if he gets killed by a desert. So that's also a backline card. But same as the scorpions and these scarabs, if they are in the back line, the enemy is not too keen on coming onto my lands and attack him because
Mm-hmm.
they can move in and defend. So that gives me time to get to the 4 and 5 mana that I want for this deck to be starting to cast the bigger ones.
Right. And then a Land Surveyor is always good just to not have to draw a site and be able just to play this as a defensive card, but then get
Yep.
that site. Let's see here. Belmont Longbowmen. Did they do some work, or were they kind of subpar in your opinion?
Um, well, they sometimes do their job because well, the ranged is also something that the opponent has to play around.
Mm-hmm.
But I notice in a few games that when I cast these guys, they are one of the main targets for people to lightning bolt, fireballs, and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But in my opinion, it's not that bad in my deck if they want to use like a skill like lightning bolt or fireballs on this one, and next turn I cast just a bigger creature, so they cannot use desert and lightning bolt to kill like a creature with 4 power from me. So
Right.
to say they did not shoot and do the job they should do, but they ate a lot of removal.
Yeah,
So it's
that's good.
actually doing another job. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, the cave trolls. I'm assuming we're here for potential spiders or other things like that.
If needed, yes. But he's also in the deck just to fill in the tree spot for
Hmm.
having a minion with a decent body on the field. For the enemy spiders, it's an extra, but I'm not trying to build around enemy spiders or stuff like that in draft or sealed because it's an exceptional. So uh,
Right.
yeah.
The Midnight Rogue, it being stealth and range, did it provide more benefits than you thought originally when you brought it in, or was it just kind of what you expected from it?
Well, he also did the job he was meant to do. He did it a lot better than like the Belmont Longbowman because he like the new rule that projectiles do not hit stealth now, stuff like that makes him better in surviving, and you can just send him in stealth
Oh, I didn't know
to
that
the
range didn't get rid of stealth.
the projectile.
Yeah.
Stealth units now are not hit by projectiles now.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That
Okay.
got
I thought it.
changed. Like
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but like a lightning bolt or stuff like that, that still kills it if he's like the only one in the
Right.
location. Um, but he did a lot of his stealth work and just yeah, don't shoot
Nice.
immediately and lose the stealth, but keep him around so he has
Right.
to keep uh, yeah, calculating his place around it that this guy is still in his in his territory, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
So
The Punch Butcher is another one of your two threshold Earth minions. I've been playing around with Punch Butcher a lot more recently, and this guy is really good.
yes, definitely with if you can combine him with grapple shots, blinks, and stuff like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so he's in pretty early big body because
Yeah.
having 5 power on turn 4 or even maybe turn 3 if you can play it with one of the towers, then
Mm-hmm.
it's a big thing to have on the field that the opponent has to deal with or just to avoid all the lines that the butcher can like grapple people in. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's one of the big and best minions in this deck list. Yeah.
Yeah. The I think this kind of goes under the same purpose of like the unicorn. It's really scary. Like it makes your opponent be like, okay, how do I get rid of that? And it kind of makes them focus on that unit and trying to figure out how to get rid of it before it becomes a bigger problem.
Yep. Yep. Yes. Indeed.
I've been seeing in constructed decks as well a lot of sandworms starting to show up in the meta. I think this card, for a long time, with it being land bound, people were worried that it would just die from like water, but because water's really not in a good position right now, this card being one threshold, 4 for 4 with burrowing, it can get rid of root spiders as well as just being able to kind of stealth under and then come back up and deal that 4 damage when needed is seems really good.
Yeah. But yeah, in this sealed tournament, he was just the uh, 4 body for 4 mana,
Mm-hmm.
like the burrowing and stuff like that. It's in constructed. You keep facing the root spiders and things like that. And I can see him getting into deck lists because of that reason. But like
Mm-hmm.
for sealed of draft, you just want him because he has four power. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Witherwing Hero. It's cool that you got the card for a sealed environment. Did I'm assuming it was just a 4 for 4, just good rate for good damage. Airborne is always good to be able to attack diagonally. Did you ever use the ability though?
No,
No.
it was like you say, it was the 4 power airborne that I got out of this card, and he really did that job good in the games. But to put him in the same zone as other minions, I was a bit too scared to do something like that because if people do like spell damage in one zone and you lose 2 cards
Mm-hmm.
because you do that, it's yeah, it puts you down in the game. So he was
Gotcha.
just the body. Yep.
Awesome. And then Amazon Warriors, I think, is just kind of in that same vein of a 5 for 5, good rate. If you happen to have pulled a common sense, then you can go look for it with the common sense because it is ordinary.
Yes. Yeah. Got one common sense. So yeah, that
Nice.
actually puts like 2 Amazon warriors into your deck.
Right.
So and like you say, it's the same as all the others. It's just the high power of a card that makes people wonder how am I going to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
The average caravan, I've seen more and more people play this card. Is it just because we don't have necessarily another ordinary that is 4 power or even 5 power that would potentially change this slot to a different thing? And that's why it's filling that gap?
Yes, I can't say it better than you just did. It's it's actually a gap filler, yeah.
Right.
But because he has the 4 power, but like there are a lot of minions that I would pick before I would pick the caravan. But you
Hmm.
have to do it with a sealed pool and with what that you pull. So if I have to compare like the caravan with, let's say, this werewolf that you can cast on turn 3, it's a 3 body, then I
Hmm.
prefer the caravan on turn 5 or maybe turn 4 with a tower, just
Hmm.
because of the 1 extra power. Yeah.
Yeah. The roaming monster is an interesting include for draft and sealed, specifically being able to summon it into your opponent's potential backline or just in a spot where there's nothing nearby this thing to not let it do some kind of damage.
Yeah. Um, the it's actually a better caravan because of
Mm-hmm.
you can summon it where you want. So in a few games, I was able to cast him in the back line, even in the same zone as like an enemy has, let's say, a Belmont Longbowman there and stuff like that. This one just beats that guy; he cannot escape anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it puts the opponent in a difficult position when you can do that. But in a few games, I also was forced to cast him like on my side of the battlefield because I needed the 4 power to block, yeah, not to be
Mm-hmm.
offensive. So yeah, he's versatile enough to adjust to situations because of the skill to summon it to any side.
Right. Going into your magics here, you have one blink, one common sense, one lightning bolt, one berry, one flanking maneuver, one grapple shot, one heat ray, and one incinerate. So you got a little bit of burn, you got a little bit of removal, and you have some movement here. Did flanking maneuver do well when you saw it, if you did see it in your deck?
Actually, it did, yes, because each time when I draw it, I try to position my minions so you can use the card. And most of the times, if you have luck like me, that you can open enough big party minions to put in your deck, um, mostly this card gives you a kill on another enemy minion to take over board control, and the card replaces itself. So you actually win a card from your opponent, to say it like
Right,
that. So yeah, the draw a card from this one was the most important thing to give it the extra. Um, yeah, it's actually the same as Blink, but
right.
people expect Blinks because it's an ordinary and it's played a lot, and not many
Mm-hmm.
people expect you to do this Knight's maneuver. It's one extra zone that people don't um, think about during the game. So
Right. The common sense is a staple, and if you can get it, it's amazing because you can then go look for a card you need at the time you need it, like a berry or a lightning bolt.
yep.
And lightning bolt just does 3 damage, so it is random. So there is that like worry that it might not hit the target you want.
Uh, it doesn't happen that often because I see people all play almost the same as I play. I also don't put too many creatures in one zone, so
Gotcha.
there are more spells or other things that kill minions in one zone than being than getting lightning bolted. I think people are um, when they play the minions and decide where do I want to play it, they don't think about they can lightning bolt it, but they more think about the um, minor explosion, leap attacks,
Gotcha.
spin attacks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That clears one hole. Yeah.
Right. Let's see here. You got one grapple shot, which it works really well with your scorpions. Did you ever pull that off in any of your games?
Yeah, I think one or two times I was able
Nice.
to. It's because I try indeed keep the scorpions alive until I get these cards. And if you have the sorcerer avatar with the card draw and 25 cards in deck, you it doesn't take too long to get the
Right.
things that you need for it. Yeah.
And finally, the heat ray is. I don't think many people need to know. Like it's just this is a really good card in constructed, and this is just a really good card in sealed. Being able to just shoot a projectile, and it hit every spot on its way to the end of the realm for 2 damage, and you get to choose which minion it hits, or not minion, but unit it hits on the way is really
Yep.
good. It can win you the game. I've seen it win a lot of games. I've done it where I've won games off of Heat Ray alone.
Yeah, it's really the piercing part of this card that makes it a lot better than the fireballs or other things. You cannot just you can't do if you're at death's door, you cannot do anything about it unless try to get out of the projectile range of the
Right.
spellcasters, but that's also pretty difficult. So it's a really good card. Yes.
And then Incinerate is deals 4 damage to each other unit at target location near the caster of an or an allied dragon. How well did this card do as an include?
Um, he did not do that much against enemy minions,
Mm-hmm.
but he won me one game just by keep moving forward. It was a game that I draw my whole deck. I had almost nothing left, and I just had to do like 4 damage on the avatar to put him on death's door, and this one let me do that. And after turn after, I could finish him. So uh, yeah, he was in there with the main purpose of trying to remove stuff, so my bigger creatures don't have to trade with one of them.
Right.
But yeah, he won me like a game on a whole different purpose that I put him in the deck. So he did
Nice.
not do that much against minions. He was an avatar killer, called like that.
Gotcha. Looking at your sites, we have we have all the generic sites here. The Dark Tower, Gothic Tower, and Lone Tower, they're for the ramp. The Humble
Yep.
Villages are there for defensive, being able to, buy that 1 foot soldier to kind of protect that site for early, with the early game of just being able to block with the foot soldier and
Yep.
potentially prevent like 3 damage.
Yeah, but sometimes that's why if you go back to the top of the list to the Torchammer Trinket,
Right.
it's a surprise with these one power guys. Suddenly become a 2 power, like you
Right.
say.
Yeah.
You can kill Scorpion with Foot Soldier and Desert, but you can kill, yeah, with this one combined, even 3 power minions if you have the Desert and this combo. So
Mm-hmm.
mostly they are defensive to let me build up, but also there were a few situations where they did crazy stuff,
Nice.
unexpected, like with the trinket and stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah.
The red deserts are there for the damage nearby, which can be super nice to clear a bunch of smaller minions.
Yep. Yep. But it's the splash color of my deck, so I did not calculate like if I draw a side now, I can still do the extra 1 damage and maybe trade
Mm-hmm.
into that. I never took that risk, so if I had it in my hand, it was a good extra. But um, yeah, it was not like I'm gonna draw an Atlas now, so I have the extra 1 damage. That was too risky because I only have 3 deserts in my deck.
Gotcha. The looking through your sideboard here, I'm just looking if there's anything that I might have that maybe would have been interesting. I think you were wise in the decisions you made. I don't again like you won the tournament, so it must have worked out, right? Um, let's see here. Mortality is an interesting card, especially if you you expect there to be a lot of mortals, but maybe I don't know. I think it's very situational.
Yeah, that's the down part of wanting to play this card. Indeed, all the situational cards are always a guess. It's a
Yeah.
really good card if you face like the Amazon Warriors, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you get a game and you have this one in hand and the enemy does not have a mortal on the battlefield, then yeah, it's a dead card again. So
Mm-hmm. I see that you have one Torchmer trinket in your sideboard here. Why not go up to the two Torchmer trinkets to potentially do the three power foot soldiers or something like that?
I made this decision because I think it might have been a bit more dangerous to, let's say, if you draw a trinket and turn after you draw the other trinket or you draw another spell, you need
Mm-hmm.
uh, at first the minions for it, and having two trinkets in hand and the opponent did something with the board that you don't have minions is actually a loss on 2 cards. So
Right.
I prefer the one trinket and then some extra spells. Yeah, two trinkets could have been fun, but I think it's yeah, it has its yeah, positives and negatives. But I was too scared for the negatives to play two of them.
Gotcha. So the maybe board, I think, is something interesting to look at. The Ruby core, potentially drawing it late game might have been rough. Is that why you didn't put it in the game into the deck?
Yes, and also because my mana curve stops at 5, it's nice to ramp with the core to 4 or 5 mana.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say if I open some elites like the um, Great Tennis Titan or stuff like that, Conqueror Worm, then if I wanted to play them, I would think about Ruby Core a bit more. But now for the 5 mana, and it
Mm-hmm.
stops there. Yeah, it's indeed the risk of drawing him later in the game that can even cost you the game.
Right.
Yeah.
The Mad Dash is kind of it's a cantrip. It you get to draw your card and then move. Why not add this in for more movement capabilities?
Because of my minion base at this moment, I had 16 minions,
Mm-hmm.
and the spells that are in my deck at this moment, I think, were a little bit better than the Mad Dash. So um, yeah, he was one to cut because otherwise I would have cut maybe even a minion, and that's not gonna be good, especially not like we said, playing trinkets and other cards that require you to have a good minion on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to lower that number, so Mad Dash lost the cut to get into the deck because Blink or stuff like that is better. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I'm assuming it's kind of the same with Rimland Nomads. It does move more, but it's only a 2 for 2, and you kind of wanted to have more of those bigger minions.
Yeah. And the two cost minions because I have 4 basic side towers in my deck. Most of the times I play the 3 drop at turn 2, so
Mm-hmm.
that would also make him um, well less good if you draw into him late game.
Yeah.
And on turn 2, I prefer to do the tower and 3 cost combo than casting a guy like this. Yeah.
The Teleport, I'm assuming, is kind of the same, as well as the double threshold, potentially uh, getting stuck with that and not being able to play the two air. Was maybe
Uh,
the
yeah.
reason, or was there more to it?
Well, the double threshold is um, always a reason to sometimes cut things, and
Mm-hmm.
but for my deck with the 4 airlands, you can still try to get to the double threshold. I also wanted for the with a wing hero, so but also like you say, if you have it in hand without a decent target, then you prefer to have like a minion or spell that removes something else or buffs one of your minions. This thing doesn't do anything if I have like the cave trolls and the enemy has an Amazon warriors. It's yeah, then it's a dead card in my opinion. So
Gotcha. The last two here, the disintegrated minor explosion. I'm thinking it's because that was your low element, right? The one you had the least of sights wise, and just in general in your deck were low one threshold cards.
yeah, I had to choose one of the 3 elements to splash it a bit more because if you go double threshold on all elements, you are going to have a lot of problems casting
Yeah.
those things. And I think looking at my stuff, the Witherwing Hero or the Double Threshold, Earth minions like the Unicorn and the Butcher were more important than the Disintegrate. So that's why I decided to cut a bit more of the fire element out of the deck. Yeah.
Gotcha. The yeah, it's I think again, you won, so it's not like yeah, I can like critique it a lot. But I think that if I had to with this list, I think I maybe would have put in the Torshmer trinket, even though it's one less. Like maybe because of Sorcerer,
Uh
like
huh.
it having draw, being able to draw so many cards during the game. I think having the trinket, two trinkets might have been okay because okay, I draw a trinket, but then I draw, a Witherwing hero or a Sandworm or a Scarabs, and then being able to like buff it to 2 or 3 would be kind of really scary, and you could do a lot more trading and keeping your guys alive. But I don't know.
Hmm.
I get it. It's one of those things where it's like there's not a lot here I would have changed, and uh, it seems like a very good deck. Obviously, it won the tournament, so it must have
Yeah.
been doing something right.
But that is the great thing about how they build up the game. In my opinion, you can like the list that I built. It's not the only list you can play with this sealed pool.
Right.
Everyone has their own play style and can do with it what they
Mm-hmm.
want, and uh, that also gives a lot of surprises in the games that you don't have in other trading card games.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go over to the last part of the interview where we do some questions. So,
Mhm.
how did you learn about sorcery to begin with?
I saw it on the Kickstarter website
Mm-hmm.
uh, and checked it out. Looked really cool. Um, I put it on hold while it was um, still in while the Kickstarter was still active, and then I forgot to back it. So I looked up a few months later some people who were selling their pledge, and I
Mm-hmm.
bought some alpha stuff from a guy, and that's where I started the gameplay
Nice.
of sorcery. Yeah.
Very cool. Uh, looking when you were looking at the Kickstarter, what interested you about the game besides just maybe the art? Was there anything else?
Um, the grid based part of the game where most people are like, oh no, it's grid based. This is not good. I think grid based just gives more tactical decisions
Mm-hmm.
and a different play style than you have in all the other trading card games. And I used to play a grid based game, Mage Wars, and it was a really great game. So Um, this is a very good and nice replacement of that game.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to look up Mage Wars and see what it's like. If it's anything like
Yeah,
Sorcery, I might like it.
it's can't say it's the same,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the grid based, you minions moving around and you battle, and each guy has a mage. Like here, you have an avatar. It has
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the same components, but it works with a spell book, and you can choose which cards you play. You don't have to draw. The
Huh.
luck of the draw is not part of the game, so
Interesting.
it has a lot of the same things, but it's a totally different game. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Oh, that's interesting. Not having to draw and just kind of choose whatever you want for the turn or something like that.
yeah, you can select two cards for the turn that you play, and the enemy does the same, and then you
That's
both
interesting.
say play the turn at the same time. Yeah.
Very cool. What is if you do have one? What are let's change this to not your favorite artist, but like maybe top three favorite artists.
Um, top three.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely Severine. Like she made the alpha avatars. Those are amazing in my opinion. The Philosopher's Stone. Those are like the key cards of sorcery. And well, Brian, I think, because of the the darker side of the art that he makes. Um, is pretty cool.
Yeah, Brian Smith.
Yeah, indeed. And then as a third one, huh, I don't know. I would almost say Vincent Pompetti because of the. I really like the what's the name? The princess
Highland Princess.
in Air. Yes, the Highland Princess. That one. I really like that one. Is that a reason to say Vincent Pompetti because of the one card? I don't know. Because some of his other art is not too. Yeah, it's not something for me. I don't know. Um, I'll
Yeah,
just say Pompetti for the
there we go.
princess. Yeah.
Nice. Let's see here with the four elements that we have right now. You have air, water, earth, fire. Which element have you? If you had to build a one element deck, which element would you choose?
um, I think at first fire. Um, Probably I would love to build all of the elements, one deck of each, because
Yeah,
I get bored pretty fast of building and playing one deck the whole time.
gotcha.
But as the most favorite element, I think it's gonna be fire. Yeah.
Fire. Yeah, fire. It's awesome. The so with you doing draft here, what do you usually play when it comes to constructed? Do you what kind of avatars do you look at and try to build decks around?
That speaker is the one that I try to build around most of the
Nice.
time because I like the ability, the skill, and after that, I'm trying to make my deck from the Battle Mage workout.
Okay.
It's also pretty interesting.
Nice.
So, and then like the alpha avatars, I try to make them work in some decks because I like the skills, like the one from the air, fly
Nice.
minions to nearby and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. You can do some strange things. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I only own one of the the four original alpha ones. I own the water one, and I'm hoping to get the other ones eventually, but they're really expensive.
Yep. I'm glad and happy that I was able to buy the alpha before the prices went up
So
from a guy. Yeah.
nice. Yeah, the with the Courtesan Cup just happening and us re recording this, With the new Arthurian Legends cards that we saw over the weekend, which one kind of piqued your interest the most, if you had a chance to look at them yet?
I did have a chance to look at them, and I would say the the giant in the fire
Okay.
element
Yeah.
seems pretty interesting
Mm-hmm.
because um, you can just in the same turn cast a minion next to it, and he throws it into the enemy territory. It's like casting it onto an enemy land. And
Yeah.
I was already thinking about combinations, like you can do that with the kobolds that at the
Mm-hmm.
end of turn hit for 2 and
Oh, yeah.
adjacent areas and things like that. So at this moment, that is one of the most interesting cards that's in my mind about what I'm gonna do with this one when it comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
throw some kobolds and then put a torsion or trinket on them to do three
Yep.
damage to something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Some flying kobolds. There we go. Uh, with let's see here. What is your favorite magic, minion, artifact, insight? And I guess avatar. We'll add avatar in there too.
Okay. Starting with Avatar, that is gonna be the Dead Speaker. Just because of the effect, I like to play with that effect more than the other avatars have. So,
Right.
um, favorite minion is Lord of the Void. Try to make that guy
Ooh,
work a lot of times, and
nice.
so each time when he does his job, and I can be able to cast him because he costs 9. It's an expensive one.
Yeah.
It's so fun to play with. Just the mechanics of the cards, it's amazing. So, yeah, for minion, it's got to be that one. Um, favorite spell, mm, probably Blink, I
Blink.
think.
Nice.
Or yeah, I used to like at the first recording I said Creator Eyes, but it keeps switching. I want to play with everything and I have fun with Creator Eyes, but now with the Blink, doing the strange shenanigans, getting a card in return, yeah, it's
Nice.
difficult to pick one, but if I can choose two, those are the two: Blink and Creator Eyes.
Nice.
uh, then the
Yeah.
artifact
Yep.
is still the Pendulum of Peril for me. Just
Nice.
controlling the board and putting it on a great spot. Uh, yeah, to control all the adjacent areas. Yeah, it's fun to play around and build decks around it. So it does a great job.
Yeah, let me look that one up real quick. The Pendulum of Peril should be here. There it is. Yeah, so it costs 6. At the end of each
Yeah.
player's turn, Pendulum of Peril kills all minions at its current location and another adjacent location of that player's choice. Dang, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think they make it unique for something. If you
Yeah.
can cast like 2 of them in a game, it's not going to be a fair battle if you don't have
Yeah.
removal for artifacts.
Yeah.
And it targets locations, so even if it's like submerged or something, he still does his thing. So
Mm. And sight.
um, the edge of the world,
Edge of
just
the world.
yeah,
Nice.
it works a bit with the Lord of the Void or other cards that, yeah, forcing to have like a void space all the time on the battlefield is pretty nice. So
Nice. Yeah. So are you hoping that maybe we get some more void cards for Arthurian Legends to make like a void deck or something?
um, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I saw like the art from, I think it's Alan Polak. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure, that made
Yep.
like this spirit banshee
Yeah, the Banshee.
stuff. Yeah, and before I saw the skills of the card, I only saw the art. I really thought this is gonna be a Void Vault minion, but it's
Yeah.
not now. So I'm still hoping to see some nice Void Vault minions. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing on the some of the discords people talking about the Banshee card and being able to you use a foot soldier, then you sack the foot soldier with to play a werewolf, and then since you sacked the foot soldier, you then play the banshee for free.
Yep, it's a really strong play,
Yeah,
but I think it's only strong if you have enough cards draw in the deck,
yeah,
because you can like flood the board and construct it pretty fast with these
hmm,
combinations. But if the enemy has an answer to that you don't have the card draw to stay in the game, then it backfires against you. So it
yeah.
yeah, if you build around it, it can be very strong. I think yes.
Yeah, I think because it's a spirit too, there's an interesting way of like using that same combo, or just even just one of your foot soldiers dies, you then it's I'm pretty sure you don't have to play it to the spot the minion died, so then you could play evil presence and then charge it in and attack with it.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you don't have to play it on the spot that the minion dies. It's just a cost reduction to
Yeah,
uh, 0, I think it was.
yeah.
So yeah,
So I think that would be an interesting play, is to maybe make it a charge minion, which would be something that your opponent wouldn't see coming.
yeah. People will definitely try and build around it.
Yeah.
I think that's when new cards come out, you will see the craziest decks the first few weeks. People trying stuff out. So
Yeah, and are you officially going down to Vegas to play in the
yes,
Arthurian?
yes, we booked the everything now, so it's official.
Nice. Yeah, you'll have to say hi. I'll be down there.
Yes, I will. You're bringing the step curio I saw. So
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yeah,
yeah,
if you
don't
want it,
have the
we'll see.
money. Don't have the money for it. We can play a
Well,
game for it, but
oh, I don't know. After you won a tournament, I don't know how well I would do against you.
well, if it's sealed or draft, it's also part of the luck that you open. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm tempted, depending on how big this YouTube channel gets and how many people might be interested. I might talk to some of the guys that are running the event and see if I can do my own like little side event, and just anyone that wants to kind of meet me and uh, play something. We might be able to do our own little tournament, like do a draft or a sealed, or even just a little constructed event on the side. If people are interested, that'd be something that I wouldn't be opposed to doing.
okay, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. But I think we'll end it here. Thank you again for letting me re-interview you. I'm sorry that the audio cut out and we couldn't salvage it. But I think
Yeah,
this worked out anyways.
yes, definitely, it's not a problem. Talking about sorcery is always a good way to spend the evening. So
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you again for doing this, and I'll see you in Vegas.
okay, see you in Vegas. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.